The idea we're trying to put across is, look, cut it out or we're going to shut you down.
There is a life and death battle being waged on the high seas, fought with videotape over the practice of drift netting. Environmentalists call these 35-mile-long nets curtains of death. That's because they literally sweep the ocean, trapping and killing nearly every living thing in their path. There are international treaties banning these practices, but they're rarely enforced. So the Sea Shepherd Society sails the oceans with two objectives. First, they're video policemen trying to prove that some nations are illegally netting. Second, they disable the drift net ships in daring, dangerous maneuvers. In the summer of 1990, they target a Japanese drift netting fleet.
It looks like he's got a net out on the right-hand side.
We were gone 8 days before we found the Japanese drift net fleet, and we located them in an area about 1,400 miles due north of Hawaii.
It was late afternoon when we actually finally spotted the boats on the horizon. We could see 3 of them, as I recall.
Keep going on the same course, and we'll come around.
Okay.
I don't want them to run, you know.
Okay.
We've arrived just at the time of evening when they're starting to lay out their nets. So as they're heading along on our port side here, the nets are steadily going out.
I was on board the Sea Shepherd as a reporter there with my cameraman, Jamie Tumulty, who had the Sony Betacam, and I had a Sony Handycam.
The nearest drift net boat is just off to our starboard here. We're closing in, and they've obviously become aware that we're here.
Yes, this is Sea Shepherd. Just want to let you know that we'll be passing close by with the cameras.
The video camera is to us what a cannon is on a warship. So instead of going into battle with a row of cannon, we go into battle with a bank of cameras instead.
Okay, we're going in on the second one. He's apparently pulling away.
So there's numerous treaty violations that they're involved in, and we felt that it was our task to enforce those regulations. The idea we're trying to put across is, look, cut it out or we're going to shut you down. So we made a lot of passes in order to observe them, in order to intimidate them, in order to communicate to them that we weren't too happy with what they were doing.
Okay, here we go.
All right.
Hey, you guys up on the bow? Hang on up there.
Whoa.
Hang on, Jamie.
We're going to get him close.
Hang on.
Loved it. It's part of the fulfillment of our goal. It was the beginning.
No, we don't have any light. Tomorrow.
Are you going to take another run at him?
No, not enough light. We don't have any light. I got this.
And we were all disappointed that it was getting dark and we couldn't get footage and we had to spend the night because we wanted to get into confrontation right away.
They aren't laying any nets at the moment, so Captain Watson has decided to go into a circular pattern, and we'll circle around them all night to make sure they don't lay any nets, and we'll see them again in the morning.
We did a lot of night filming, taking advantage of the lights on the Japanese fishing vessels.
You can see the net here. They're hauling it in pretty fast. I don't know whether it's because they're trying to get them up because we're around, or whether in fact there just isn't much of a catch.
There's over 250,000 marine mammals killed every year in these nets, and over 1 million seabirds. So it's an extremely destructive practice. And for the most part, it's out of sight and it's out of mind.
Okay, it's 1 in the morning. The crew is out here preparing for tomorrow's action.
We knew that one of our tactics may be to ram them, so everyone on board became aware and prepared for a ramming, making sure everything was safe, making sure the life vests were out, making sure safety equipment was ready.
Nobody slept. Any possibility was arranged for. Cameras were brought out, Zodiacs were brought out, and camera equipment loaded onto them. The ship was in general made ready for confrontation.
Okay, it's 8:45 in the morning, and a decision has been taken.
Everything was running, the captain was in the wheelhouse, everything was ready to go, and it was just dependent on the cameraman as to when the signal would be given.
How's life for you, Mark?
I can shoot any time now, but, you know, the more light the better, but I can run any time.
Our first consideration in planning a campaign is, can we physically interfere without causing any injuries or making sure nobody gets killed? Can we document this sufficiently so that we can have an impact with the documentation?
The captain came up from behind, and then he aimed for the power block, which is a unit that pulls the Drefnet in, a very expensive unit.
We're going to take out the side of the vessel where they're loading the nets, try and make that useless for them to continue that kind of operation. Get ready. You want to tell those guys down in the engine room to stand by?
It was a little eerie down in the engine room because we weren't aware of how close we were getting or exactly when we would hit. I did not know what the engines would do. I suppose the main worry that we would have is that we would get a puncture in the hull and the engine room would fill in with water.
If anybody pulls any right, try not to all dive down there at the same time. Now you get ready on board. Get out of the way, you guys.
They seemed almost oblivious to us until finally they sort of looked up and realized, Jesus, these guys are coming in on us.
Let the horn go. We took out that machinery.
Yeah, took one out.
I shot my footage and ran out to the deck when this Japanese guy threw this cutting knife, flensing knife.
And I'm just panning, following the boat go by me down below. And then all of a sudden, one knife went right over my shoulder. And then another knife came up and went right underneath my feet and landed on the deck where Bob Hunter was.
Whoa, here comes a knife.
He quite calmly picked it up and said, "Oh, got a souvenir."
I got a souvenir. They threw this at us.
I was really glad that we were on a boat moving away at that point.
This is the Sea Shepherd. This is Sea Shepherd.
Sea Shepherd, Greenpeace ship?
Not Greenpeace. Sea Shepherd Conservation Society.
Why are you crashing my ship?
Because you're killing too many dolphins, whales, and birds, and taking too many fish. And you insulted us by calling us creepers. Can you do us some damage control up there, Nigel, please?
What's our damage?
Oh, I got a big hole up here just behind the anchor well. It goes right through. It looks like a cannonball came through.
Okay. So we got their power block, but they hold us.
Oh, yeah, but this is a welding job. That's a $20,000 piece of equipment.
All right, so we're going after another one now?
Yeah.
My only concern was that the Sea Shepherd is an old boat, so I wasn't quite sure how many batterings the boat would take before it began to fall apart. And I just knew this was a bad place, 1,000 miles north of Hawaii and 1,000 miles out from North America, surrounded by Japanese ships after you just rammed a couple of them, for your boat to